My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast, and it's Masterchef Australia. Oh, no. Shit, we got that wrong.
It's Great British Bake Off, apparently.
Apparently it's Great British Bake Off.
Although there was a French Parfait, a Blancmange, and
a fucking dome mold with a chocolate sphere.
Sphere!
It just felt like an episode of Masterchef Australia.
I was waiting for Matt Preston to wander through.
I was waiting to get angry with what the judges were doing.
Yeah, I was waiting for someone to whip out some tweezers.
I was waiting for Gary to mercilessly sort of mock several of the female contestants.
Yeah, because that's
before propping up one that he likes.
Yes.
I was waiting for it, but instead, no, quality baking.
Quality.
Mostly.
Yes.
We'll come to that in a minute. Now,
I mean, there was like one that looked like a prolapse, but we'll get into that later.
We'll come to that. So
not into the prolapse.
Not the prolapse. No, don't come into the prolapse, Kristie. Don't do that. So
no one likes coming in the prolapse.
We're already in the gutter. So, it was a bit of an interesting and unusual episode, and it's weird because we kind of got what we've always wanted.
We did. We got the dream, which is no one goes home.
No one goes home, and it was because poor Terry wasn't well. One too many of the choc oranges.
Oh, I think there was a stash.
A stash in the tash?
A stash in the tash.
And you know what it was? No, I know what it is.
What?
Terry wasn't... No. He wasn't allowed...
Horse riding accident.
No. He wasn't allowed in this week. Well, what was the final challenge?
Oh, a sphere that you had to melt.
A melting sphere with a secret inside. Well, what is Terry known for?
Secrets?
His chocolate orange.
Oh, he would have made a Cherry's chocolate orange and it wiped him out.
And it would have been not sponsored by the show, so there would have been a clash of sponsorships. So Channel 4 said to him, sit this one out, Terry.
I imagine it would be like human-sized, and when you melted, Dawn French pops out and goes, it's not Terry's, it's
and hands you a box of Terry's chocolate orange. Got it. We know what he had planned, and they went, no, we're sponsored by a rival choc orange company, Bob's Slightly Tangerine Orange. And
Bob's Chocolate Mandarin.
Bob's Carob Mandarin. It's not carob. It's not tasty. So there was no Terry.
But as we all know, carob is the devil's sultanas.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Captain Holt.
Thank you, Captain Holt. So we have dessert week. Now, there were a couple of interesting things just at the very start, apart from Terry not being there. The first and foremost being not a single desert joke.
No. See, they're fucking with the format already. Before the opening, usually you have the opening sketch.
Now, by the way, for the record, that's the way it's being edited here.
Is it?
The joke is happening before the credits, but it's not being done. It's being done in a different order. It's
wow,
weird.
It's just strange.
And the ad scanning is still
completely off.
It's weird.
Like, hello, first challenge over. Cut to ads Foxtel. Not that hard.
Now I'm
just
hoping
when they finish, the judges finish. You go, okay, blah blah blah.
Now I'm hoping that's a Foxtel edit, because if it's not, then what they've done with Channel 4 is they've put it in weird spots to try to lure people back after the break. And if they've done that, then fuck them, because it's messing with the flow of the show.
It is. It's disjointed and it's distracting from what was a really lovely night.
Now let's get into the really lovely night, which began, of course, with what is becoming now a tradition with Noel and Sandy, which is Paul copping a pie.
It is. And it was classic, like...
Great slapstick.
Beautiful choreography there,
Last year was really good with the pie over the shoulder.
Custard pie,
This year, with the way
cream
that Sandy
pie.
just over the shoulder again, over her shoulder.
Paul walking into it.
Perfect timing. Great comedy stylings there. And Bryony, we also then had Bryony cut to her admitting that it should be a good week for her, but then also going... That's a bit of a jinx. I'm probably going home now. So at least she understands the jinx.
I just want to pause there on the opening, because my call was that, like, Sandy was going to ride in on a camel, like, fully, like, Cleopatra out.
Yes.
And alternatively, it would have been more likely Noel.
On a camel, Cleopatra
out. Which would have been fantastic for all. And I'm going to take that to bed with me tonight.
There you go. Enjoy that.
And there would have been some, I thought it was desert week, not dessert week. No, that was a typo.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
But we didn't get any of that. We just got the custard pie. Well, got the cream pie. Look, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So the first challenge is roulade.
I said you got the cream pie.
Roulade.
Oh my God, Paul got cream pie by Sandy.
So...
Okay, roulade.
We got
Get to the rolling meringue.
Yes, so a meringue roulade. Now, little known fact here, as an educator, I should be able to spell, of course, every word in the English language without a mistake, because I'm supposed to be perfect.
But your arch nemesis happens to be
the word meringue. I'm happy to admit it.
You know what mine is?
But you know what the problem is for me?
Children.
Yeah, I can do children, not a problem, obviously, in terms of spelling it, because I have to do that regularly.
I distinctly remember in year 3, my year 3 teacher telling me it's CHILDEREN, but that might have been my dyslexia or something kicking in.
But we got... The reason why I misspell meringue, I can say straight up why I misspell meringue, is because normally when I'm typing the word meringue, I'm typing at 100 miles an hour.
You actually, you're usually typing merengue because it's your love.
Funnily enough,
Passion
it does autocorrect on my phone to merengue, and I have no idea why it autocorrects to merengue on my phone.
Because you're a lover of dance.
It is my lover of the dance. So we have a couple of staples of Bake Off came up in this. First of all, booze. Lots of boozy bakes.
Well, Karen was boozing everything up when she wasn't Christmasing it.
Yeah, we'll come back to Karen in a minute.
Dashing through the snow.
We'll come back to
Karen on a sleigh.
Come back to Karen in a minute. So we first of all, there always has to be somebody in one of these challenges who makes a pina colada, and today Ruby was that person.
I'm really concerned about the cocktail menus in Europe because they seem to be quite restricted. It's either a pina colada.
It's pretty much a pina colada.
Or a G&T.
Yeah. It does seem to be the grand total of it.
Yeah.
The other interesting...
Surely someone come in with a Pimm's.
The other interesting
Pimm's
part...
refresher.
The other interesting part that I've got to raise here is Kirsch secretly sponsoring the series?
If not secretly, then outwardly with the amount of Kirsch that's used.
God damn it. Is there like a truck of Kirsch out the back and they've just got a tap? And they're being told now don't forget, work the Kirsch. Maybe it was Prue's payment for this series.
I also think that there might have been a meat, like a swap meet between the bake-offs and the Aussie shed, right? There was like a fucking shit ton of Kirsch left over.
Still out the back.
Yeah, because of the still out the back, and maybe Monica thought the one that Monica started. The
one that Monica started.
I'll make a fuck ton of Kirsch, and they just went over, and the Brits went, "Yeah, we'll take that Kirsch."
Yeah, it's got to be a swap. I can't wait to see what the Australians got.
What the Australians didn't tell it was cursed Kirsch.
That'd be fascinating. You know, it's bad. But it came with your choice of meringues. That's good. The meringue contains sodium benzoate. That's bad. So, Bryony also, speaking of cursed ingredients, Bryony used the Canadian cursed ingredient tonight. Pears.
I'm going to say it in my Canadian accent, which sounds southern for some reason.
Anyone who listened to our Canadian series of Canadian Bake Off
learned
that Kristie's accents are amazing.
Flawless.
I didn't say flawless. I just said amazing. That could mean good or bad.
It could mean amazing how wrong I get it. Amazing how
and as you just heard there from her Texan Canadian, it's
from Central South Canada.
Central South Canada. It's from Northern Southern Canada. Now, can I just point out at this stage, I'm that person. I want a meringue on a TV show to fail.
Did you know? Oh, speaking of, you know what the little like synchronicity is here? The Canadian bakers from season 2, or a few seasons I think, or season 2, are doing a month by month challenge.
Yes, they are,
and they're doing pavlova this month.
Yes, meringues.
So all fits.
Yeah, just once. I want a meringue to fail on TV. And the reason I say this is because everybody does the hold the bowl over your head challenge. Just once. I want the meringue to fall and hit him in the head.
I thought they were stiff peaks. Turns out
no, they were not mighty fine cherry pie here. I just want a meringue to fall over, and it's not because I hate anybody in terms of, and I want their bake to fail. I just want to see someone get covered in a meringue and have to cover it. Thank you for that. So Bryony, just quickly run through what everyone made.
Yep.
Bryony made a treacle tart roulade. Bryony made a couple of different tarts tonight, which was interesting.
She's a bit of a tart at heart.
Dan talked about, and again, Dan's got a story for everything and most things involved when he was over in America. Now, Dan said that he got his idea, it was just called a Florida Keys roulade, and I'm assuming that he said he spent time in the Florida Keys. I'm assuming it was near a little place called Kokomo. That's where Dan wanted to go to get away from it all.
Bodies in the sand.
Yes.
Because he's like a serial killer hanging out with Dexter.
Come back in a minute to those. And far more importantly, with like bodies in the stand, John Stamos, of course, on drums.
Damn, yeah.
This is the Stamos era.
I prefer it to be Kerry Ann Kennelly Stamos when he's drunk.
Anyway, moving on.
Yes.
John made a mango and passion fruit roulade, and I have to point out that he was the first person in this episode to go near a dome mould.
Oh.
Wasn't the last, but God, he started it.
I mean, I think they were kind of hearts and slightly off, but it was close to fucking off.
I'm also going to give John a bit of credit here.
No Wales.
John did not mention he was from Wales once. And more importantly, John had a good week.
He did very well.
He was really good.
You know why? But his daughter picked out that shirt for him.
You know why?
Why?
He didn't mention he was from fucking Wales.
He was concentrating. He's like, oh, I'm in the big cough shed, not Wales.
You know who didn't have a good week?
Not Wales.
You know who didn't? Karen.
Yeah.
Her coffee cream and praline roulade, there were big problems. And one of the problems with it was quite festive.
And
it wasn't Christmas coloured, but it was festive themed.
But she said at Christmas time when they get the chocolates, these are the ones that go first. Kaz, look out into that wide world. There are so many more fucking seasons out there. You could do Hanukkah, you could do Kwanzaa, you could do winter solstice.
She's in England. She could have done Guy Fawkes night. She could have had an exploding roulade.
She could have done Beltane.
She could have.
Naked body roulade, just red and white, salty white, blood red, little maypole in the middle.
It didn't get weird. But my question then to you, and you sort of posited this on Twitter tonight, what would a visit to Karen's be like?
3rd of September.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas!
5th of April.
Merry Christmas!
You can't go into Karen's house through the front door. There's a Christmas Santa train.
Good Friday. Merry Christmas!
There's a Santa train that takes you all the way past the Christmas tree into the kitchen.
This is what happens on October 31st. Knock, knock, knock. Open the door. Trick or treat. Merry Christmas!
I'd like to think there's a guy who was on the news in England. It was one of those stories where it was a very slow news day, and he's decided that he's celebrating Christmas every single day. I'm wondering if it was Karen's house. He literally does Christmas every day. Presents, the roast, the works. Has to be that house.
How rich would you have to be? Does he just re-gift?
I think so. I mean, I don't know if he... I don't know
12
if he,
circulating gifts?
I don't know if he complains, in all honesty. So he might complain. I don't know. I haven't
I got myself this foot spa. I'm so surprised.
Now, Kim Joy's was the Sweet Dreams roulade.
Because they're made of this.
They are made of this. And apparently, what are they made of? A bit of passion fruit.
Which, so who am I to disagree?
It should have been made out of brie. That would have went beautifully. Which did lead to a line when we get to the judging where she talked about, they said it's a sweet dream, and she goes, yes, so Prue goes, you wake up, and obviously, and a lot of the time when you wake up, a bit of passion follows, and it was so subtle.
Prue.
It was so subtle.
Good on you, your hornbag. Fuck yeah. I love it. I want to be Prue when I'm that age, just waking up, getting a bit of passion in the morning.
You've just called Prue Leaf a hornbag.
Fuck yeah. Good on you. I hope it's a different lover every day, Prue. Alternatively, she's watching Passions.
That could be fun. Little Timmy. Little Timmy. Now...
God rest his soul.
Yes. So, Manon. Manon has made the Kirsch cherry roulade with the two different types of cherries, which Prue really loved. And again, Kirsch. And there were a couple of comments made
Cherry's a very sensual fruit.
Back to Prue being
Prue's a very sensual lady.
But there were a couple of references tonight made to alcoholic bakes, and at one point, Noel went, well, okay, it's 4 for Prue and 1 for me.
Now, Josh and Brandon did think that they'd be maggoted by the third challenge.
Well, interestingly enough,
I think you'll find the term is tired and emotional, and they'd be ejected from the Senate.
Yes, the drinking game was really weird this week because on one hand we didn't hit a lot of squares, but by God, the ones we hit.
Hard, fast, just like Prue likes it.
Dome molds, and legitimately, I hadn't looked at anything beforehand for this episode. Trust me, I wish I had because it was a real pain to do it on the fly. But I didn't look at any notes. I didn't look at anything beforehand.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a dome mold challenge at the end. I apologise to livers all over the country and, in fact, all over the world.
Chris and I were talking on the way home, and basically I've gone, dessert week. You know what would happen on Masterchef? Fucking dome mold. So we'd like put that in there as a fucking joke. Well,
wasn't a joke.
It was either that or parfait, and I'm glad we went with dome mold because boy did that pay off.
Oh boy! So Rahul, now Rahul made rhubarb and custard.
So cool.
Now
ain't no fool. Don't pity this fool. He ain't no fool.
So Rahul went with rhubarb and custard.
Mr.
Now
T.
the problem for me was that I go back to a classic Australian comedy sketch by Gordon Chater, which is his song called "Mad About the Custard Pie." Now, not many of you, I know a lot of you out there will never have seen this before. Go look it up. I think it is on YouTube somewhere, probably. But go look it up. It's literally where he sings about all these things that he's mad about, and then he sprays himself with a seltzer bottle, cracks some eggs over his head, and finishes off with "Mad About the Custard Pie," and just slaps himself in the face with custard pies while singing. Noel Coward offered to buy it off him.
And no.
That's how well it went. Noel Coward wanted to buy it, and Gordon Chater did not sell it.
There we go, folks.
So there you go, random comedy trivia. This is what you come to this for, not baking, random comedy.
See, that just reminds me of that show that was on ABC Kids in the afternoon, or just the ABC in the afternoon, which was Rhubarb and Custard, which is about a dog and a cat.
Yeah. Anyway,
in England.
So
it's like a picture book.
Cat
was a real bastard from memory.
So we then got a couple of montages. You're going to need a montage, a sports training montage,
or in this show, or cats as bastards.
Who?
Dog people. Because you never hear cat people going, dogs are dickheads. We don't say that. But dog people, cats are assholes. Cats are mean. It's like, calm the farm, dickheads. It's just like, just go with your emotionally dependent bag of licking saliva.
This is Hard Issues with Kristie.
Yeah, talk back.
Give us a call.
Give us a call.
What do you think about?
All I am.
What do you think about cat and dog people? Give us a call.
Dovetail. Best flea treatments for animals that aren't from the shelf. Not prescribed by a veterinarian.
The animals aren't from the shelf, or the treatments aren't from the shelf.
Both.
Either or. I'm open.
I got with this budgerigar. Sorry.
It's wrong.
Came off the shelf. Can't use it. So we had the meringue crack montage, which is always interesting. And you watch the different ways they roll. They're either long ways or the short roll. The short roll makes more sense.
You know, if you slow it down, it kind of looks like what's happening in Antarctica at the moment.
It does.
Just polar ice caps melting.
Now, watching everyone doing the roll reminded me of something that we actually got to see in person.
Let me see that roulade roll.
So
keep going.
So something we got to see.
Your point, Buchanan?
So something we got to see in person, which was when we were lucky enough to attend the Australian Bake Off Grand Final for Robert's season, which was an amazing honour. We got to see the night before Fee from the Great Australian Bake Off
make croissant from scratch.
She made croissant from scratch, and then she made
bee stings from scratch.
And then she made roulade. She made one. She did the roll.
Yeah.
And when she made
that Fifi roll,
unfortunately for me, it was matcha, but and it did look like green foam. But still, it was an impressive
yuzu filling.
It was an impressive feat to watch someone roll one of those up, because I'm always used to them breaking into a million pieces. So it was really impressive.
My mum makes a good one.
Does she?
Yeah, she actually does a good roulade, or she calls it Swiss roll.
Swiss roll?
It's not a Swiss roll, it's a roulade.
It's roulade.
Because a Swiss roll's with sponge.
Yes.
I go, what's this? She doesn't go sponge cake. She goes, it's meringue. I'm like, what's this stuff on top? She goes, icing sugar.
Icing sugar.
But it's actually like strawberries and cream.
Your mother doesn't understand what any ingredients in the kitchen are. Anyway, we also got what I'd like to think is the beginning of a series of children's books. Mm-hmm. Noel and Ruby presented The Poisonous Caterpillar.
After it became hungry.
That was great, because Noel's gone over and Ruby's gone, I don't know what that is, and he's like, it's like a caterpillar, it's like a poisonous caterpillar. It hasn't had that orange streak down its back.
The angry little caterpillar. On Tuesday it killed 3 nuns. On Wednesday it killed 5 school children.
Thursday, rested. So in the judging, so Bryony, they said it was cylindrical, it wasn't a spiral, and this was a common theme. A lot of them weren't able to get the spiral on the roulade. They just basically put it in a circle.
I now want to create a children's book called The Angry Little Caterpillar. No, like the faux children's book, like the, go the fuck to sleep.
Yeah.
Get Morgan... No, Noni Hazelhurst to read it. Yeah.
So they said, though, however, while Bryony managed to didn't make it spiral, she made it cylindrical, it tasted brilliant, but the meringue was too thick. That was the only problem with it. Dan's was so good. The flavours were wonderful. The lime balanced everything, and there was a handshake.
Yeah.
And we all went, wow, a handshake. Then John looked delicious, bit of a spiral. The passion for it was great. Handshake. He is giving those fucking things out this year like no tomorrow.
Do you think he has a handshake quota that he's signed on with Channel 4?
I think he does.
Funky Groovy Channel 4 needed like a handshake quota.
There's a handshake quota.
We will pay you more if you double your handshake.
Pay for handshake.
Yeah.
It's a conspiracy.
It is. It's like a cash for comment.
Cash for comment, pay for handshake.
Yeah.
So, Karen's. Now, the comment was that the roulade looked pretty sad. They said it was too flat.
You failed at Christmas.
They said that it was too flat and the inside was too soft and the meringue was underdone. So, apart from that, it was great.
Like when Prue wakes up in the morning, she doesn't like things flat and too soft.
Doesn't like it flat and too soft. Doesn't work.
Kills the passion.
They said that Kim Joy's, unfortunately, while it did promote this idea of passion, that it was clumsy, there was no spiral, the meringue was too thick, but the flavour, again, was really good.
It was like Prue's first morning. Clumsy. But still full of passion.
Manon, they said it was neat. It had broken up inside, which was a little bit of a problem, but they said the flavour was absolutely delicious, and the double tones of the two different types of cherry was
she the
perfect.
one where I think it was Paul that said, I love the taste of your insides?
I think so. Yes.
Or your insides taste good?
Yes.
That's really good because she creates the prolapse.
We'll get to that. So, Rahul, it looked amazing on the outside, but they said no spiral, and it was a very chewy meringue. The inside was, again, delicious. And then Ruby, they said it was a fold rather than a swirl.
Yep.
But, again, the flavour was really good, and the pina colada flavours worked really well.
Well, not only was tonight the Masterchef night, it was the Whose Line Is It Anyway night. I mean, we do this, and it really didn't fucking matter.
No, nothing mattered in the end, which we did find out, and it wasn't really a problem. However, Kristie, what does matter?
Well, voting in elections matters.
That does, but you know what else?
Watching Great Australian Bake Off when it comes out.
Which is coming very soon, we hope. But more importantly than that is good quality sugar work.
Fuck yeah.
And you know how you work out good quality sugar work? You work it out by subscribing to really good magazines like Australian Sugarcraft magazine.
Exactly. Now we have a special guest with us tonight.
Oh, we have a special guest? I'll invite them in. Come in, special guest. Oh.
Hey there, fools. It's me, Mr. T. And I've got a message for you kids out there. You go ahead and get yourself some Australian Sugarcraft magazine. If you know what's good for you, you go to Facebook/Sugarcraft.
Is that right?
Australian Sugarcraft.
Australian Sugarcraft. God damn it, Mr. T, don't be a fool. So you get out there and you kids know what to do. That's the moral of the story. Peace out.
Oh my God, Mr. T. Oh, he's just... Oh God, he's gone again. Maybe if I find him, I can hire him, but I don't know if I can do that. What I'm sure Mr. T was saying, though, is that it is a great thing to subscribe to. There are 2 issues per year. It is $19.90 Australian, and it is a completely colour digital magazine with step-by-step tutorials, recipes, and tips and ideas.
And don't forget, the Queen's subscribing to this.
And if the Queen is subscribing, and
Good
apparently
enough for
Mr. T thinks it's a great subscription.
If you're a royalist, great. If you're a monarch, if you're like a Republican,
Mr. T likes it.
Subscribe anyway and show the Queen you can do it better. Make it a sugar off for a republic, who could do the best Sugarcraft?
So to find out more,
the fate of Australia.
So to find out more, go to facebook.com/Australian Sugarcraft. That is facebook.com/Australian Sugarcraft.
Even bringing, solutions to tricky situations and resolving politics in a more tasty and delicious way.
Creating ladders, for example, for escape out of sugar. You know who could have used that, by the way?
Who?
Bake Off professionals in that episode where they had to make the sugar work, where Cherish hated everybody, and as a result, when it all smashed, Cherish seemed to enjoy it.
But as I tweeted to Brandon Black tonight, Cherish hates everything.
Yes, because Cherish. He was talking about Cherish when the meringues, and Cherish wouldn't like this style of meringue. To which Kristie pointed out, Cherish hates everything.
Yeah.
You know what? What was really intriguing though was the blancmange. Now, so the technical was blancmange, but it wasn't just blancmange. It was blancmange with some biscuits. Now,
cat tongues, which I presumed Kim Joy would have nailed.
Langue de chat.
Cat tongues.
Cat tongues, yes.
In French.
Yes, that's exactly how it's pronounced too. Cat tongue in French.
Le cat tongue.
Le cat tongue. As we know, Kristie is the mistress of accents. Now, this is where we can. This is where we did actually continue
Northeast.
the theme.
Paris, close to the sign.
This is where we continued the theme of MasterChef Australia, because they said it was. They said that it was a blancmange, but then when they go off and talk about it, Prue goes, "Oh, it's more like a panna cotta, really."
Yes.
For fuck's sake.
That's
And
right.
then she goes, "There's lots of gelatin," and I'm like, "Oh God!" It's almost like they just watched the last series of Australian MasterChef and went, "I'm just going to use all that for this episode."
Yeah.
Like everything seemed to be from Australian MasterChef.
Yeah. Well, that's what they need to start doing, is finishing all their sentences with "yeah," because these faux. Like these people from Australia that go to England or hang out with some English people seem to think that you come back to Australia and you finish everything with yeah. So I'm so pom, yeah.
So when they were looking at the recipes,
just don't do that, yeah.
So when they're looking at the recipes, no. Manon looked at it, and the first comment out of Manon's mouth is, "Oh, she likes it boozy." How have you just worked this out, Manon? We all know that. Noel's been making jokes the whole series about Prue getting tanked. Right.
Maybe that was the issue. She put a little too much booze in there.
I felt really bad for Ruby at the start of this challenge, because poor Ruby is looking around and they're trying to explain the cat's tongues and all that, and she's like, "I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is." At one point, someone's like, Ruby, stop cheating," and she's like, "I don't know what it is."
It was Dan.
Yeah. Ruby's like, "Cat's tongues."
She's like, "Don't be a dobber."
Yeah, don't be a dobber.
Feel you, Rubes.
But the instructions were just bake for the biscuits, and this led Karen to go, "It says just bake. I mean, till when? Bake till Christmas? Bake till Tuesday?" Of course Karen went Christmas.
I just have a feeling that every morning Karen wakes up to the sound of jingle bells, like sleigh bells.
No. It's like Angela in The Office. Her favourite song is Little Drummer Boy.
They told me, pum. And like Miracle on 31st or 34th Street is in the background, or It's a Wonderful Life, or she.
Why? What's today? Why today, sir? It's Christmas Day.
You know what she plays on April 1st?
What?
Chevy Chase's or the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
That's her joke.
And occasionally, when it's her husband's birthday, she lets them watch Die Hard.
Oh wow! But we got the flipping montage after this, because there's not much to do. They put them in the freezer to set, but then they had to take them out of the freezer and put them in the fridge because the gelatin doesn't react very well in the freezer. So you've got to quick set them, but then you've got to put them in the fridge so the gelatin can set properly.
Yeah.
Then we did the flipping montage. Now in the flipping montage,
gonna need a montage.
Karen's was more soup. And Manon's was a bit loose, but it seemed okay.
Karen's looked like, remember those fucking instant puddings, like the Deb instant puddings, whatever they were, the strawberry ones? Oh my God, I went to this ranger camp, right? So after you graduate guides, you go to ranger guides. And so you're more responsible for what you do with your camping. There's no one to organise it. These two slightly older girls decided they'd organise this. Now, the menu for the weekend consisted primarily of Deb mashed potatoes and instant pudding because they didn't want to do any fucking cooking. Yeah, that meant a walk up to the chicken shop for me.
It would, because I wouldn't have eaten it.
3 years later.
I wouldn't have eaten it.
Thank God we're only in suburban Sydney, so...
But anyway. Manon's held a little bit more, but then when she flipped it out, it did get all prolapsy.
I was expecting someone to come along, like a doctor to come along and go, "Now just relax." And they pop on their gloves and just... I've seen a prolapse put back in.
That's delicious.
It's quite fun. And then they put something that looks like that, like a rubber donut, and there's different sizes depending on how much kind of support you need.
At this point, allow me to just point out to the audience at home.
Yeah.
Kristie at one point was a nurse.
Oh, yeah. This is not recreational.
I just want to clarify, this is not recreational. She used to be a nurse. Okay? I feel at this point I need to specify that.
Well, At one point, I was expecting a nurse to come along with a selection of rubber
Rings.
donuts for to help out Ruby in it.
So Mannins looked like a prolapse. Then Bryony had a problem with hers. It looked like it was going to run. But for some reason, when they pulled them back out of the fridge,
hers looked all right.
Karen's had set.
Yep.
Bryony's had sort of set.
Yep.
And Mannins was a puddle.
Yeah, hers went downhill fast.
It was weird how quickly it went down.
Yeah.
So Kim Joy...
It went downhill quickly like Prue likes it. Wrong bag.
So Kim Joy, they said there was a really good wobble on it, but it had lost a bit of definition, but the colour and the flavour was really good.
I really wanted to see someone do a Nigella Lawson, you know, when she talks about panna cotta and she's like, it's got to have that sexy wibble, you know, like a breast. It's the top of breast. It's a little wibble.
Karen's, they said, had lost both colour and shape, but apart from that was great. And the biscuits, she said, I think they might be a little bit under. They looked raw. They were blonde. And that's being kind.
They were so under, they're a bottom's bottom.
They are. But ching. So, Rahul, they said the colour was good, the wobble was good, and they were delicious. It was delicious, but the biscuits were slightly under.
That's not how you make porridge.
It's not how you make porridge. Don't need to bring up your horrible record there.
Okay. What was the anecdote be?
Yeah.
Again, I apologise, porridge boy.
Bryony, they said there was unfortunately no height or colour. But the biscuits were good. If you listen to a lot of the feedback on the Blancmange, it was usually, this looks like shit, but the flavours are good.
But honestly, like Blancmange, right? Unless you send it, like, apart from it being like in fucking Red Dwarf and that.
I know. Again, all I can think of is Monty Python, where they go to Wimbledon and play tennis against the alien Blancmanges, and because the Blancmanges are taking over the world and devouring people, and so a scientist goes out and plays a Blancmange at Wimbledon and beats it.
So, like, it is one of the most hilarious desserts, and as Paul pointed out, it was served in their schools and it wasn't very tasty.
He's like, I wouldn't eat it.
It really, like, when you think of, like, fancy desserts, it's not your go-to.
If you were having a 70s night, it's 100% what you go to.
But would you, or would you go to fondue?
No, you go fondue's after.
Okay.
Fondue's
a Blancmange chaser.
Fondue's before everyone throws their keys in the bowl.
Blancmange keys you up. It's got to be a boozy Blancmange.
It's got to be a boozy
Then you
Blancmange.
don't mind which keys you pull out.
It's going to be... Okay, if you're listening to the podcast out there, and we know there are at least 3 of you, if you're listening to the podcast out there, what I want you to do is I want you to tweet back to us what you would put together for your ultimate... at the washing up. I want you to tweet back what you would put together for your ultimate 70s dinner. Entree, main, dessert, and obviously fondue follows.
And sex game.
You don't have to include sex game. That's a Kristie wants that.
Who are the couples you'd invite?
That's going a bridge too far.
They can be like fictional. They can be like real couples. They can be imaginary couples. I just go all out.
At the very least, just send us the entree, main, and dessert from your 70s night, and maybe what box of wine you would chase that with.
Yes. What fruity elixir are you serving?
Surprisingly enough, Mannins Blancmange not set. Who knew? Yeah. But the biscuits apparently were very good.
Yes.
They said that John's had good colour, flavour was good, and the biscuit was good. Again, John had a weird night. He was good at everything.
Yeah.
Ruby's was surprisingly nice and well piped, and the biscuits were well piped, which was fascinating because Ruby didn't have a clue what she was doing.
No.
And just backed into a good blancmange. And Dan had the night of nights. The colour on the wobble was good, and the flavour was delicious.
Yeah, but his tongues, while a little thin and a little long, were quite good.
So in this challenge, Manon, not surprisingly, was 8th for the fact that she had a melted one. Karen was 7th. Kim Joy was 6th. Bryony was 5th. Rahul was 4th. John was 3rd.
Yep.
Ruby managed to get 2nd, and Dan won the technical.
Woo!
Dan was really 2 for 2 at this point. He was on fire.
Yeah, he'd have to fuck up royally.
Yeah.
And everyone would have to do stunningly for him to be out at this point.
So, the showstopper.
Yes.
This is where we ruined livers all over the world because the showstopper was a melting chocolate ball dessert. Now, before we get into this...
Yes.
For those who did not have not watched MasterChef Australia, you know, the happy people... MasterChef Australia over the last 4 years, I'd suggest, has done more of these dome mould and ball desserts that you melt than I think any show on television worldwide. We've had at least
the dome mold and ball dessert,
but the melting sauce one, I think we've had at least 7 of them in the last 4 years, at least.
Oh, look.
The golden ball, which was a final challenge. You've had the Black Forest one. Then you had a couple of contestants who just started to recreate them. Reynolds did a bunch of them.
Jess did one.
Imitating what Reynolds did.
Yeah.
So you've had a series of
so many balls,
these.
so much sauce. It was like Prue's morning.
So like the reason why we're so like, oh God, here we are again, is we've watched a lot of this on MasterChef Australia, and
to see it invade our favourite show,
it's terrifying. And especially when Karen basically made the equivalent of the Black Forest Dome they did on MasterChef Australia, exactly with the holes in it and everything.
Yeah.
It was terrifying. So Bryony decided, and Kristie went, oh God, there'll be a white chocolate one at some point.
Oh, there was 3.
Enter Bryony.
Oh, hun. It was just a bad move. Hot day, white chocolate, don't melt. Don't mix.
No. So Bryony decided to do the white chocolate dome. We've seen so much white chocolate dome before.
It's wrong.
And we know
abomination.
Those of us who have watched MasterChef Australia know the problem with the white chocolate dome is it's very hard to get the white chocolate dome
Except
to set.
Manon and her French wizardry.
We'll come back to that in a minute. Now, Dan went with Dan and the Giant Peach. But when they asked him, have you ever done this successfully, he was very vague.
Look, I tried it. It came out like a banana.
And as they pointed out,
totally came out like a pear.
And as they pointed out, your voice keeps on getting higher every time you try to answer this question, which is usually a cue that someone's lying. And as they pointed out when they got to the judging later on, it looked more like a planet.
Yeah.
It didn't look like a peach.
Yes, but it was Planet Delicious.
Yes, it was.
What would be on your Planet Delicious? Well, not much or yuzu.
Yeah, definitely not much or yuzu.
Lots of pasta. Lots of cured meats like salamis.
That'd be chorizo.
Some gammon.
It'd pretty much be made of chorizo.
Yeah. Chorizo, definitely chorizo.
What would be on yours?
Oh, fucking spring rolls. Thai food.
It would just be a Thai lake,
chocolate.
wouldn't it?
Chocolate mousse. Like chocolate chips. Chocolate chip cookies.
Chocolate Thai food?
Yeah, pears. I like pears. I was down with Paul, the pears.
We'll send you on a Canadian bake-off.
Yeah. I'll be cursed.
You'll rescue the curse. So, John admitted that he's just doing what other people were doing on TV. He's never done this before.
You know what would be on Planet Delicious?
What would be on Planet Delicious?
Fucking chicken wings I've been looking for years. They would show up. And the mushroom pizza that I couldn't find. All the delicious things.
All the food you've never been able to find.
Gone extinct. Like, we talk about the animals, but we don't talk about the food that's gone extinct from this earth. And I know chocolate's in danger and so are hazelnuts. But let's just take a moment for all the other food that's in danger.
Da, 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 da. We're doing montage.
In memoriam.
So interestingly enough, though, John admitted that he was just doing what he'd seen other people doing on TV. Wasn't the first time. At one point tonight, when Rahul was chopping things up, you had Sandy went over and said to him, "Oh, I love your knife skills. Where did you learn how to do that?" And Rahul basically said, I watched TV chefs and I learned how to do it off TV. So there was no learning.
Tonight on Masterchef.
Just watched people on TV. Oh, that's how you do it. Okay.
And then whatever song that comes up for British Masterchef, which I don't know.
It's not Hot and Cold.
It's not Katy Perry's Hot and Cold.
Probably Rule Britannia. Anyway, now John did an ode to his daughters.
17. All right. Everything's going to be all right. Anyway.
John did an ode to his daughters. He made it a ballet cake, not an opera cake.
I reckon they chose his shirt for him tonight, and that's why he did so well.
It involved melting the shell with Kirsch, which I found interesting as a tribute to his daughters, that he was melting the shell with booze.
I do think, though...
There's been a lot of that this year, by the way, of people doing odes to their children which involve alcohol.
Yes, with the...
Dan's done it.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, ode to my child, ode to my child, here's some alcohol.
What I think Dan did miss, or John missed a trick on, was because he had that blood red kind of like Kirsch sauce. is that he should have made like a skull or a dead body inside, and then like the blood's dripping down, and it would have been brilliant.
It's what it looked like when he poured it. Probably a good bit of advice, and our friend Gabby on Twitter tweeted this out. Probably a good idea when you're doing this to avoid a red sauce. Otherwise, it does look very much like the Lannisters have sent their regards.
Although if you did it on if you did it with pink chocolate, right, and did a sphere that had like a little kind of yoni shape on the top.
Oh, God.
And then you put the red onto it and it opens up into like a uterus-looking cake. Oh. That would have been awesome. Or like a baby cake, right? And the blood's on it and it's like, happy birthday. Oh, my God. Someone needs to make that. A ruby chocolate vagina sphere. Or it could be a black chocolate because it could be like an African baby or like an Aboriginal baby. And it's like a black sphere, or like a dark chocolate sphere or brown. Like, just make a lot of them. Like, just to have all the women giving birth in sphere form to little babies.
So for those people out there who might have lost track, Kristie just suggested birth cakes. Literally where you pour the sauce over and the cake gives birth.
It could be a fucking gender reveal thing, right? Imagine, okay, if we're lucky enough to fall pregnant, we need to get one of our baker friends to make a gender reveal cake that's enclosed in a sphere vagina. Look, I'll post for it. Joking. Not joking.
Not joking. Anyway.
Where were we? Vagina spheres.
Yeah, exactly. Let me go to my notes where the word vagina sphere appears. Never. So, Kim Joy. Now, Kim Joy had the most... And again, Jude from Canadian Bake Off. Somebody borrowed your whimsy. It was Kim Joy.
She borrowed Megan's Galaxies and Jude's whimsy and just created a fucking masterpiece.
It was amazing. So she did a galaxy ball, and that in itself looked amazing.
Oh.
And then she filled it with small shoe pastry turtles because, of course, it wasn't hard enough for the idea. You had to go out and make fucking shoe buns.
Like, she could have just made plain shoe.
And mini umbrellas, which when they said, why mini umbrellas? And Paul just went, of course, mini umbrellas.
Well, why not? Why not? Why the fuck not?
It felt to me a little bit like the reverse idea of the old flat earther policy of the world on the back of a turtle.
Yes, no, that's
no, but it was originally a flat earther theory before it was taken up by Terry Pratchett.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Before Terry Pratchett took it up, it was a flat earther theory.
See, what
that
she
the world
needed
was the back
to do,
of on a turtle.
What would have been the most Pratchett though? So she did the galaxy, and instead of the little 4 turtles underneath, she had a couple of like 3 elephants.
That would have made more sense.
That would have made more sense.
Yes,
but it was adorable, and I fucking love it, Kim Joy. Like,
I absolutely.
Don't listen to me. I
thought it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
I'm talking about vagina spheres.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the greatest things that I've ever seen. What was scary was that Dan at one point yelled out, come on, Gioconde. And I'm like, oh, don't you dare. Yeah. Don't you dare make a fucking Gioconde sponge.
I've decided I want to do a gender reveal party, but inside it says, like, gender is a fucking construct. Get over it. That's what I would say.
Winner is question mark.
Just be a rainbow.
Now, Bryony, we then got her shaking technique for the sphere. And then what it became was the Olympic rhythmic gymnastics floor routine competition because you had Bryony and you had Manon going around with their globes, like shaking them like they were about to throw the ball in the air.
This is true blue rhythmic gymnastic floor routine, like fucking music.
No. There's only one song you can ever have. And it's the same one that I always make fun of for physical culture as well.
No, it's not though, because I was there and I had to fucking coach this shit, and this song was everywhere.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
Going out to you, Beck Huntsman.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
Yes, that's a fizzy thing. But the rhythmic gymnastics, and my sister will back me up on this, is dun 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 dun.
What?
Dun dun
okay.
Ding.
My first of all, that sounds like the Wombles. It sounds too close to the Wombles.
Though.
And secondly, and far more importantly, I take all of my guides for society from The Simpsons. What song does Homer do his gymnastic floor routine to?
That is a cartoon, Chris. Like, come on, we're talking real things here.
What I want you to think about here is, to prove your point, you're blaspheming against The Simpsons. I need you to think carefully.
Yes, he does it to that song.
Thank you. I'm right.
But
anyway,
in real life, I had to sit through this shit for fucking years.
Anyway, Rahul talked about a really awkward thing that happened with him with his practicing was the balloons kept popping in his face. Now, Karen and Rahul decided they were going to use balloons to do the chocolate sphere rather than do the bigger one, which the others were all doing, and the swirl around. By the way, just quickly, because I didn't make note of it to specifically talk about it, but the way that John got the shine on his chocolate sphere...
Pretty special.
It was unbelievably good. You know what else is unbelievably good?
What?
Noel and the Werewolf.
Oh my God. It was like he was like, sorry, I've got to film this sketch for a Mighty Boosh reunion.
Possibly the joke of the series.
I'm going to make a time call and I don't know where Noel is. Cue Noel being chased by a werewolf
out
through
the back. John also, the only thing he got closest to from a Welsh reference was when John looked at his cake and went, oh, that's lush. And then we got the point where the spheres started to fall over. Bryony's collapsed first of all, and she's like, it's going.
Ruby was seeing cracks.
Ruby's then fell apart. But then we saw John step in with Ruby and go, all right, what do you need me to do? How can I help?
People looking on at Bryony, not mentioning names.
There
Karen.
were some people that were just looking at Bryony going, oh, look, well, she's not having much luck.
Because in her head it's like, better watch out, better not. She's making her naughty or nice.
She's making her list and checking it twice. I thought that because of the way Rahul did his around the balloon and then the way it sort of collapsed, when he put it around the cake, it looked like he was putting Lego hair on a Lego figure. It just looked like a Lego minifig. And so when Noel looks at him and goes, can you save it? And he goes, I'm going to try.
Look, it did also bear a striking resemblance to Noel's haircut.
It did. It looked very Noel.
Could have used it as a stack hat.
I was waiting for Noel to just go, look, if that doesn't work, you can just put it on. Now, for the judging, John, they said the design at the top was amazing, and it was. And he wore a tutu, which was cool.
Yeah.
The bottom of the cake, however, was quite scary because it looked like 4 severed feet.
Well, you know, when that red blood comes dripping down.
And then it looked like a murder scene when he poured the sauce over it. But in the best possible way.
You're waiting for, like CSI Bake Off to start. Who are you?
Now, Ruby...
There's been 4 severed ballerinas found in the Bake Off tent.
Only 2 because it's 4 feet.
How do you know? Could be 4 ballerinas all missing a foot because they keep them.
They'll never pirouette again. Ruby got up for her judging and hers had collapsed, so she just put the half of it on because that's all she had left. And Prue turns around her and goes, you do understand what a sphere is, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a bit rude.
You might want to see what else is going on there, love.
So it was a bit too sweet and a bit too thick, but, you know, it wasn't too bad overall. Yeah. Rahul's, they said it was very Rahul. In the best possible way because it looked stunning. It had, you had to do 1 layer. You did 2.
Yep.
That's very Rahul. It didn't melt properly. It didn't melt properly originally, but the flavour was amazing,
and it looked fucking phenomenal.
And Rahul, again, he doesn't know how to
take praise.
Paul's praising him, and Rahul is just sobbing.
Yeah.
Uncontrollably sobbing that Paul absolutely fucking loves it. Bryony just gets up and goes, no excuses, it just melted. But Prue's feedback was, elegant, it's not. But the flavour is amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what they said. Her flavour was really good.
And, if you were served that, if someone said to you, tonight I've made this for you, you'd be like, holy shit.
Dan, perfect.
Yeah.
Dan, they said it looked more like a planet, at which point he went, oh, it's planet.
Planet delicious.
But it was absolutely delicious.
Thai food and the stuffed chicken wings.
Prue was so blown away when, her feedback was amazing.
Yeah.
Manon, I said it was very neat and was very pretty.
Yeah.
It melted absolutely perfectly. When she poured that sauce, it just dissolved beautifully.
Oh.
And that cake.
Yeah.
And she did a collar, and it worked.
Yep. It was...
Because, of course, the chocolate collar wasn't under pressure this week. So.
No.
But it looked the business, and it was a stunning shell, and the melt was perfect. The cake was amazing. Manon just pulled it out.
Yeah.
Karen did her usual, where she basically did something to try to rescue herself. Although, as the judges said, she did a good job, but she didn't necessarily rescue herself.
And it looked like a Christmas pudding.
Yeah, it did.
I'm surprised she didn't put, fake holly on top. I think she restrained herself and she did Christmas-esque.
Maybe she ran out. She's too busy decorating the...
It's not season for
She
holly.
was too busy decorating the bus on the way. Holly all over the bus. Oh, shit, I forgot to bring any for the bake.
Yeah.
Kim Joy's looked great. It melted like a dream. And when it melted with those turtles and the flavour, Paul said the chocolate then went with the turtles, so she'd actually thought about the concept.
And the boozy aftertaste.
It was such a good concept. The design was amazing.
I was disappointed she didn't get a handshake.
So I thought she was getting one.
Yeah.
Now, there was no one obviously went home because Terry wasn't there, and as they said, quite rightly so, it was really unfair with the idea of sending someone home when Terry didn't bake.
Yeah.
But they said next week, probably going to be 2 going home next week.
Which is a fair call.
Enough. And Dan finally wins his Star Baker. Woo! And look, very deserved. Dan had a great week. Once again, Rahul was up there.
Yep.
And John was the other one
Good
up there.
on you.
John had a good week.
The boys are back in town.
It was a really good week. So that's kind of the podcast for this week.
Yeah.
It was an interesting week. Hopefully we don't go back into MasterChef Australia again.
You know, what's going to happen
There's
next
a fucking
week?
ice cream next week. I'm jumping.
Fucking ice cream and a schmear.
No schmears.
And crumbs.
No crumb, no smear, no ice cream. Don't want any of those things.
No tweezers.
So we'll see. Well, definitely no tweezers. Especially if it's an ice cream. Good luck. Until next week, I'm still Chris.
And I'm still Kristie.
We'll catch you all then.
I'm going to go play with my doll now.